The mood and momentum surrounding Illinois football reversed after a devastating 63-10 loss to the Indiana Hoosiers. I said in reaction to that game to not sell too much of your stock on Illinois unless you genuinely thought they were a top 10 team. I still believe Illinois is a good team, and if they're not a good team, and how I define a good team is really you're in the top half of the Power Four, and I think Illinois is at least around the average Power Four team, more likely above average than below average. If you are that, I think that being at home, having a good culture, having a good coaching staff, and more importantly, having a great quarterback. I think Altmaier is the best player on the team, certainly on the offense, can help you rebound when you are hosting a team in USC who's only favored by 6.5, who has to play this game early, who has to kick off early, and they have to travel long enough to where that is a benefit for you if you are Illinois. Typically, East Coast teams and West Coast teams do not do so well when they have to travel several time zones over. So today I want to give you 10 reasons why Illinois should win this game. And I've picked USC to win this game. I said that they'd probably win by 7 or maybe fewer than that. I picked Illinois to cover the line when it was at 7.5. Now it's at 6.5. I don't advise anyone to bet, really, unless they have this proven system that allows them to win money. At 6.5, I just wouldn't touch this, even if you really have that. That's just a really interesting number. But besides the point, I picked USC to win. I have made a 10 reasons why USC should win video that'll be linked down below in the pinned comment, along with my USC versus Illinois preview and prediction video, where you can find my initial prediction, why I made it. Highly advise you check both of those videos out. Make sure to subscribe, like the video, hit the notification bell, and comment your thoughts on my analysis here down below. Watch the whole thing through. That way you can get the most out of this video and see all of my analysis. Feel free to critique it too. I love it when people call me a moron, like when they call me the smartest person. I love it the most when it's something in between that, by the way. Share your thoughts in the comment section below, and remember as well to hit the notification bell for the USC and Illinois football playlists that you can find in the playlist section of my channel, and they should be linked to the video. Sometimes that doesn't always work for people, but it shows they're linked. But anyway, enough of that. Let me get to reason number 1 why Illinois should win. Their defense, I think, is going to rebound in a major way. They are healthier, at least entering this game, than they were by the second or third quarter of the Indiana game. It sounds like Torrey Cox, Caleb Patterson, Miles Scott was out for targeting, not for injury, Tanner Heckel. It sounds as if all of those players are healthy for Illinois. Of course, Xavier Scott, their nickel, is out for the year with an injury, which is very tragic. Be praying for him that he is able to rebound and be able to do well in the future and recover from a pretty serious injury. But I think Illinois' defense, which faced an electric Indiana offense, a quarterback in Fernando Mendoza who's viewed as a first-round pick right now and got that even in the preseason before that game, their defense only allows a 38.8% success rate, which is not great, but it's good, and that's factoring in that Indiana game. And I think Indiana is a wagon, and USC could be too, and we'll talk about that more throughout this segment here. But that's reason number 1, I think, is a rebounding defense. Reason number 2 is a deep wide receiver core. So Clement, Dixon, Bowick, Beatty, Elzy, and yeah, I mean, that's a pretty deep wide receiver room. And also Kapka Jones. So Hudson Clement, Malik Elzy, Colin Dixon are your starters in this group. Clement has over 100 receiving yards. Elzy's approaching that. Dixon is 151 and 2 touchdowns. Bowick had some critical receptions in that Duke game. He has 3 touchdowns. And then Hank Beatty, who's been with the program for a while, served on special teams. He already has over 300 receiving yards and a touchdown. And also a rushing score to add on top of that. This receiver group, I don't think has a Pat Bryant, but they are deeper than they were last year. And USC secondary has really struggled. You saw that in the Michigan State game, saw it a little bit in the Purdue game. That defense for USC is good, but it's not where Riley and Lynn want it to be. I think they're going to need better players for that. So this deep receiver group can help Illinois move the football down the field. Number 3 is Luke Altmaier himself. So he's completing 70% of his throws. He's averaging 8.6 yards per attempt. He has 9 passing touchdowns, 72.5 QBR, and he hasn't thrown an interception this season. In fact, I don't even think he's turned it over for the whole season. That's based on my review of the Duke and Indiana games, though. I don't know if he turned it over against Western Illinois or Western Michigan. Don't know. No, he didn't throw a pick, but maybe a fumble. I don't exactly know. But he has been safe with the football. He is, I think, at his best that he's been in his career. He just didn't have any pass protection against an Indiana defense that is absolutely electric and has their hair on fire right now. So I don't fault him for that. His mobility, his pocket awareness, and his arm, and I think his poise, too. It's hard to move the ball when you're getting sacked almost every other drop back. So I think that as long as he is decently protected, he will be able to move the football against this USC defense. Reason number 4, Illinois has stout linebackers. This defense is 23 tackles for loss. The linebackers are a veteran group. By linebacker, I'm kind of lumping in edge there. So Gabe Yakus, their left outside linebacker, who is really an edge. Alec Bryant, Dylan Rosiak, Malachi Hood. They have quite the group of seniors in that multiple 3-4 defense they run. And I like what I see out of them. I think they tackle well. I think it's one of the strengths of their defense. And USC, they have a lot of athletic skill position players. Their running backs are incredible. Their offensive line is disciplined. Having veteran linebackers can help in this game, especially against an offensive mastermind like Lincoln Riley. And the defensive line for Illinois, I thought it was going to be a huge weakness entering this season, and it's not extremely strong. I think that USC's offensive line is probably better than this Illinois defensive line. But James Thompson Jr., Kurt Neal, and Tamika Duroyaye, I hope that's how you say his last name, I think they have done a good job along with this defensive front, typically, of getting some pressure, but I think more importantly, making sure they can hold their own at the point of attack in the run game. And that's important here because what USC loves to do, I think Riley has figured this out. It's something he missed last year. He's gotten back to running the football and running the football at a high clip with high efficiency and with power. So Illinois' defensive front is going to need to put on an A-level effort here to win. This group is capable of that in Big Ten play. Number 6 is that Illinois has a +5 turnover margin on the year. Yes, most of that has indeed come from Duke, but we have seen them force turnovers and be disciplined last year as well when they had a 6-1, 6-2 record in close games. So that, along with only having 5.3 penalties per game, which is tied for 47th, not great, but above average, and they're going to be at home. They're not going to be on the road like they were against Duke or Indiana. I think that they can come into this game, and I don't know if they'll force a turnover because this USC offense doesn't turn it over much, but can they play disciplined? Can they not get pass interference calls? Can they not hold? Can they not false start a lot? And hopefully they shouldn't because they're at home. I think they're capable of that, and maybe forcing Maiyava's first turnover of the year. At some point, even the best quarterbacks, I mean, you think of even Joe Burrow in 2019 or Justin Fields in 2019, who had awesome TD-INT ratios that were, I think, 10-1 or even higher than that. At some point, you do throw an interception, and I think that Illinois might be able to force that here. Reason number 7 is that Illinois' run game is patient. This isn't a huge reason. That's why it's 7th. And this is a reason that will be a non-factor if USC gets up early and Illinois has to throw to come back from behind. But if they can trade blows, Illinois' rushing attack does a really good job of kind of putting vice grips on you in the second half and tightening them ever so slightly. The rushing attack isn't deadly to an elite defense, and it's not one that is going to win Illinois the game on its own, but it helps close out games. And I don't think USC's defense is elite yet. I think that in a year, definitely I would say 2 years, if they can keep Lynn, they will have that. But this year, that defense, I think, is vulnerable in some spots. We've seen the secondary struggled against a really good Michigan State wide receiver core, struggled a little bit against Purdue's. Their run defense struggled a tad bit against Georgia Southern, and Michigan State and Purdue were able to run respectably on them. And it's not like any of those rushing offenses are amazing, though Michigan State's is pretty good, might even be great, which I would tab as a top third Power 5, Power 4 rushing offense. Michigan State might be that, so from that perspective, maybe USC's run defense is actually pretty impressive. We'll learn a lot in this game, and this Illinois run offense could test that defense. Number 8, I think Indiana's that good. USC could be 2. The advanced analytics would suggest it, but when I watch both USC and Indiana on film, I am more impressed with Indiana to this degree than I am with USC. I think that what Indiana did against Illinois and the fact they scored 63 points, and a few of them came in garbage time where they were just running the football with their backups in and they were still that dominant, is very impressive. I've seen USC play Power 4 opponents in Purdue and Michigan State, and they have not looked nearly as impressive as Indiana did against an Illinois team that, look, is probably better than Purdue, and probably just based on the fact that they're older than MSU and probably deeper there and definitely better on defense, I'd say they're probably better than Michigan State too. But there's a probably there because I like some things about Michigan State that I can't say I like about Illinois. Run blocking offensive line is an example of that. I just think Indiana's possibly a top 5 team, and they're certainly top 10. USC could be. I think they're top 15 or top 10 right now, just a tier below what Indiana is. And instead of facing that caliber of team on the road, Illinois gets to play host to them. So that helps compress a 63-10 result into maybe something that could be much closer or even an upset. But we'll see. Again, I picked USC for a variety of reasons in a 10 reasons USC will win video. Can find that in the reply to the pinned comment. We're just looking at Illinois' arguments here. Number 9 is the climate. It's pretty simple. If Illinois were traveling out to USC and the line were somehow, let's just say, 8.5, 9.5, 10.5, because the line would be that if it were in LA, I would hammer USC to cover if this were on the road. Because teams that travel multiple time zones and that aren't used to doing so, and by used to, I mean they're not constantly in that time zone. If you are a West Coast team or an East Coast team, maybe with the exception of Nebraska, because at that point you're getting, close to the middle of the lower 48 states, so that the traveling to the coasts won't be quite as tedious or hard as if it were Penn State or Oregon or USC or Rutgers traveling back to back. The distance is almost doubled. The point remains, though, Penn State will always have a tough time going out to Oregon or going out to USC and winning. They always, always will. Because their players constantly aren't there. They aren't there as a team constantly. They're not in that time zone. They're not used to making that long trip. You can't really perfect the art of going on the road thousands of miles away multiple times. Oregon even showed us that last year, and that was a really well-coached and well-prepared team that's probably better than this USC team. So I think that the travel, time change, and the stadium, and Illinois probably being angry will help the Illini here and hurt the Trojans. And that brings me to my final point here is the desperation. Illinois has to win this game, and I think the staff knows that. If you want any shot at reaching the playoffs, you have to win here. If you want any shot at finishing ranked or showing that, last season can be replicated across multiple years, and it's not just a one-off that you have to constantly rebuild for and wait, 2 or 3 more years to get that result again, and you want to build recruiting momentum and build up your program reputation, you have to win this game, because I can give that Indiana game to a certain degree a pass because Indiana looks that good. They're probably the worst matchup Illinois faces all season long because they can power run downhill, and they probably have the best quarterback that Illinois is going to play, and they're on the road. It's just a bad combination. If you're not going to beat USC at home, you're not going to beat Ohio State at home, and a 3-loss Illinois is not getting in the playoffs. So you need this win for all your hopes and goals to still be in front of you. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and comment your thoughts down below. I will see you all very shortly. Have an awesome weekend and stay safe.